Hey, Gopher fans, it's another edition of Gopher Talk. Welcome back. We're glad to see you. My name is Mike Grimm, and our Gopher Talk is presented by Affinity Plus, committed to the safety of their members, employees, and communities during this time. You can learn more at affinityplus.org, and our special guest is Gopher offensive lineman Connor Olson. And Connor, good to see you.
Good to see you, Mike. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for sure. Let's talk some football first, and then we've got some fun things to talk about as well. What was the reaction for you when you heard the Big Ten season was back on and ready to go?
I was just overly excited. I mean, we were continuing to practice. We were getting prepared, and we were prepared for any outcome, whether it was in October, November, or January. And so it was really nice when the schedule was finally first put out and we knew we had a game to go. And, October 24th, we got Michigan, and it was nice to see that light at the end of the tunnel became a lot closer, and it was exciting for everybody.
How has it been so far now, getting back with the guys and practicing when you know there's a mark on the calendar that, hey, it's game day that day, as opposed to, as you said, that unknown?
Yeah, it's a lot better, and right, it gives you that goal. And, in the program, we're not set. We have our vision that's always set out, but it's nice to have a much more realistic one that I think is a lot more palpable for a lot of people versus that unknown opponent. So, we know we're playing Michigan, and it's nice we can prepare for Michigan, and everyone's excited to play Michigan. I haven't had a chance to play Michigan now for 4 years, and I'm excited for another shot at them.
Yeah, that little brown jug is there for the taking, and it'd be fun to start the season, being able to bring that back to the trophy case. Up front, you have mostly been a center, but you have also been very versatile, and it sounds like, I know Coach Fleck talked about last week that you've been trying a few different spots up front here early on, and I suppose your versatility is something that they look at as a big positive because you're a plug-and-play guy anywhere up there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really gunning right now for that left tackle spot, because Sam Schluter's my roommate, so I'm really trying to steal that spot away from him.
Beat him out, right?
It's definitely tough sledding, so yeah. I'll go in where they put me in is how it usually works out.
Well, I wanted to ask you a little bit while we have you on the line about your background. You're a Minnesota kid, Monticello, Minnesota. You chose to stay home and play for the Gophers. Take me through your recruiting process and why you chose to stay home and play in front of family and friends.
Yeah, so there was never really a question of playing here. It's just a question of whether or not the University of Minnesota wanted me to play here. So going through the recruiting process, right, I was relatively undersized. I was a fullback up until my sophomore year in high school as a 6'5", 190-pounder, and that doesn't really stack up for a Big Ten offensive lineman. But then I finally got moved to offensive line, and then I started hitting the weight room a lot more. The line that was tweeted around back in the day was peanut butter sandwiches and chocolate milk. So I managed to put on about 60 pounds. So I camped here. And so then from there, I got Ko, my roommate. He's watching me do this interview right now, so he can story himself. So after I put on that weight and I camped here at a successful camp, once that spring rolled around, they finally offered me, once they saw that I could put on a healthy amount of weight, and they offered me. I committed 2 days later. I wanted to commit on the phone the moment they offered me, but my parents said to wait a little bit. But for me, it wasn't even a question. I've never understood why it would be a question personally. I mean, like, this is where I wanted to go. I grew up watching Gopher football. And so for a chance to be able to play on that team, the moment they wanted me, I knew it was here.
You've started basically every game of your career. You've been, as we mentioned, versatile up front. You've graded out great. I know the independent folks, whether it's Pro Football Focus or what have you, have graded you well. What about your background do you think? You mentioned you went from fullback to a lineman. What about your Minnesota background do you think has molded you into the player and the person you are today?
Yeah, so I mean, my high school coaches, and of course, like this culture as well. So I mean, the biggest thing, right? I mean, in this culture, we talk about the how, right? The how trumps everything. So I mean, that's probably the biggest thing, and I mean, you see that now too, in other guys on the offensive line too, like John Michael Schmitz at center. Like when he's playing, I mean, the amount of effort that guy puts into every play, and like you see that it radiates out among the O-line. I think that's probably the key thing, and that's the thing that. That's the thing that goes over everything. I'm sorry, now Sam's peeking in on this interview too.
You got all your roommates trying to tease you here, huh?
Yeah, I got a lot of traffic going on.
Well, that's good. Who are all your roommates? You're in your apartment now, your dorm?
Yep. So yeah, I'm living with Co Keefe, Sam Schluter, and the doctor Kelvin Swenson.
Wow. Yeah. So that's a good group. You've got one defender, and then you've got the best friend, your three best friends to Mohammed Ibrahim, right? You three guys are opening holes for the running back there.
Yeah, pretty much. The hope is that at some point get us all lined up on one of the sides, and then we can just go from there.
Yeah, for sure. Academically, you've already got your degree. Your honors, all Big Ten, all that stuff. You are also a finalist or semifinalist for the William V. Campbell Trophy, which is given basically to the best student athlete football player in the entire country. You're one of I think each team has one. You're the Gophers representative there. Take me through how important academics are and what your future holds in terms of what you use that degree for.
Yeah, so academics, right? We're student athletes, so for me, that's always been a very critical part of my career here at the University of Minnesota. I finished my degree in human physiology, and now I'm in a graduate program for public health administration and policy, which with everything going on right now, it's a very contemporary study, so it's very enjoyable. Moving forward, I want to continue to see. There's been a lot of career exploration going on with this current program that I'm in, because it offers a very versatile set of skills. I've always fancied myself as a pre-med candidate, and I'm looking towards that path as well, moving past football.
Well, let me ask you this. Could the NFL put that pre-med program on hold, though? I mean, you have graded out, as we mentioned. There's got to be NFL folks who like what they see from you, or would you forego football and get right into med school?
Absolutely. If I can get that call, then I'm certainly going to take my shot at the NFL here. But, at this exact moment right now, I want to focus on college football, and I want to focus on my academics. I like to take things one step at a time. I think it's unfair to yourself to look forward in the future because you might miss something going on in the present. So as of right now, I just want to focus on this. And if that call happens afterwards, then that's something worth considering. I don't know if I'm allowed to say this yet, but it also sounds like we're likely allowed to come back for our 6th year. And, I have every desire to do that, assuming that is allowed. And so, the NFL and med school, for that matter, are still another year beyond in the future.
Yeah, gotcha. Well, and that's great. And you think about what football has meant. If it all goes right, you'd have 6 years, you'd have a degree, maybe an advanced degree, all because of football, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a tremendous opportunity that football has afforded me. I never thought to myself, as a high schooler, that I was going to be still playing football and pursuing a graduate degree. That is, so the opportunities that has given me, it really is something that it's hard to appreciate until you're fully in it.
Of course, within the last week, your teammate that lines up on the wide receiver spot, Rashad Bateman, earned his waiver. He's back and going. I think that probably put a little extra pep in everybody's step for the moment. How good can this Gopher team be here in 2020, and how excited are you? We talked about that Michigan game, but not just that game, but for this season.
I think we're going to be terrific. I have full confidence in our offense. I mean, with Bate coming back, we're likely going to have less tackle passes, which Sam was a little sad about, but otherwise, I mean, everyone's really happy. Everyone's ready to go. I mean, we're rearing, we're ready to go. I believe we're supposed to be finished. We would have finished up week 5 just now in a regular season. So, I mean, guys are chomping at the bit to play some real football. And I know, especially on the offensive side, I think that, we're clicking on all cylinders right now. Obviously there's things we can do to get better, but guys are ready to go. I mean, the gas is in the tank. We're ready to get rolling.
And it looks to me like you have a new hairstyle since you and I last talked on a pregame show. Tell me about what's going on with the Connor Olson hairdo there.
Yeah, so the big thing so Blaze, he put some highlights in his hair for picture day. We're still trying to hammer out the reasons why, but, he thought he'd go a little fancy. So naturally I had to one-up him. So I went ahead and bleached my hair. You can't see it right now, but it's the workings of a mullet. Joe's been my barber all quarantine, so it's not overly refined, but I think it gets the job done.
Yeah, it certainly does, and yeah, you got a new look. Why not? And with the new season coming up here, we'll look forward to seeing you and your roommates and your teammates on the field on October 24th. Congrats on all of the great academic stuff as well. Always great to catch up, Connor. Thank you, and we'll look forward to seeing you again soon on campus.
All right, thanks for having me, Mike.
All right, you got it. He is Connor Olson. That's Gopher Talk presented by Affinity Plus. So long.